Good morning, I'm Laura Stanton, and I'm here today to talk about the Common Acquisition Platform. You've heard it mentioned a couple of times throughout the morning as one of the resources for this group and for other contracting officers, contracting specialists, program managers, basically anyone who has a requirement in order to be able to, that they need to fill in order to be able to do the government's business. While the focus today has been mostly on IT acquisition, and we do support IT, we actually are looking at all of the categories that are being defined by the Office of Federal Procurement Policy as well. So the first thing is, the theme of this is acting as one. So the idea is that the government has 500 plus acquisition shops across the government. You'll hear Dan Tangerlini speak of it in more detail later this afternoon, and you also heard Ann Rung mention it earlier this morning. But the idea is that we actually think about buying not as a single Fortune 1 company, which is what the government is if we consolidated our buying. Instead, we think about it in the needs of an individual program office. We think about it in the individual needs of an acquisition shop. So the idea of the Common Acquisition Platform is an online repository of resources, tools, best practices that allow you to share information across the community. And we will be sending out information as well for the Federal Buyers Club and supporting this group as well with some of the resources that have been mentioned today. We're working with U.S. Digital Services, we're working with OFPP, we're working with a number of the groups to ensure that we have a consolidated place to be able to find all of these resources. So I'm also going to be doing a much longer demo, so all I want to do in my 10 minutes right now is really convince you that you should be here for this afternoon when I go through this in more detail. If you can't be, my team has a booth set up outside the door where you can also pick up information on slip sheets and so on. But let me explain to you why I think that why I want to hear your opinions, why we want to gather this information, and how we want to make this tool even better. At the moment, we've just started. This launched on October 1st, and what we've done is we've built off the category management concept, and we've begun to build what we refer to as category hallways, that for each category hallway retains all the information that we were able to find. I'm not going to promise you it's comprehensive, because I can guarantee it probably is not. But it's a starting point of putting information out there so that when you want to buy IT hardware, IT software, professional services, or something else, that you have a starting point in order to be able to find those resources. And what I have up on the screen is a screenshot from the hallway. And this is the IT hardware. What you're seeing is a giant solutions matrix, which is listing all the contracts that we found that were government-wide or best practice contracts. On the right-hand side, we have historical pricing data. We have a laptop configurator tool that I'll show you in a second. We have transactional pricing, and we have transactional platforms. So where can you go to actually buy this? And then we have a connect and contribute, which takes you to a community function. So what we're doing is building this information for each of the categories, working with designated category teams to put these resources out there for the government buying community. What we also have is, some of you may be familiar with the Prices Paid portal that was launched as a Presidential Innovation Fellow project last year, and we have taken it. It has several data sets where you actually can type in laptop and begin to see how prices compare to each other. This is a prototype. Let me be clear, we're looking to gather more data sets, and that goes back to the December memo that OFPP released, asking agencies to share their data and their contracts so they can be posted in the actual hallways for the categories. So we are looking to expand this, but at least this gives us an idea of what we can do once we begin to get the data and once we begin to collaborate across the government. The next piece is the IT Hardware Navigator. So the Federal Strategic Sourcing Initiative, led by NASA, a working group led by NASA, has been working on developing standard configurations for government laptops and desktops. We took that and began to work to compare prices across government-wide contracts so that even you can begin to do very rapid market research as opposed to having to know which contracts to hit and where to go in order to find this. Look, at the moment, we have GSA Schedule 70, we have Army Chess in here. We're looking to expand all of this, as well as figure out what other commoditized items that this type of tool would be valuable for. And then the final piece I want to highlight is the community. And so what this is you can actually begin to bring together community, begin to share, and this is what we're putting together for this group. The community will be available in a couple of days. We're not quite there yet, but I expect that we should have it up sometime next week. And so what this is going to allow us to do is take the lessons that we're hearing from today, or the questions about how do we apply Agile. Should we be using time and materials? Should we be using firm fixed price? Taking that debate online. So if you're not in the room, you can see it archived, you can search it, you can begin to actually use it as a knowledge center to understand how others in the government are really looking to buy, and also learn from one another. And that really fits the theme of what we're doing with this tool. It's learn from experts, so the idea of the category managers being the experts, connect to those who do it, and then acting with purpose once you have that information. So we're really trying to build that piece that'll help bring this community together and bring all of the resources that we're talking about today, as well as many others, into a single repository. So please go out and explore it. Here's the URL. As I said, the slip sheets out front have more information, and I will be doing a much longer demo later this afternoon. So thank you.